Autobots, roll out!
Hello and welcome to That's Just Prime, and today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Beast Wars Transmetals Optimus Primal, and I love this toy. This is another figure that's brought to us by review, so if there's any figures that you want to see me review, let me know by leaving me a comment, and I will always do my best to try and bring those figures to you. Now, real quick before we go forward, I have been extremely sick. And I'm just starting to get over it now. For the last 2 weeks or so, I've been pretty ill. So if I sound like a Muppet, you'll please excuse me for the quality of my voice. It's not 100% quite there yet. So getting back to the review, this guy was released originally in 1998. He is a mega-sized class figure, and he retailed for approximately $15. Now, as you can see, Optimus here is now a metallic or a mechanic sort of ape, or gorilla rather, after he was brought back from the first season of Beast Wars when he originally died, and Rhinox brought his spark back and put him into another, like a blank body, if you will. And this is when all the Transmetals were coming out. And I really like what this figure does. It's a very, very interesting figure to me because, as you can see here in this mode, he is mostly a mechanical ape. And then when he transforms into his robot mode, he has a lot of more organic looking parts to him. So it's very interesting how the actual organic part of him, which would be the ape mode, is the more mechanical looking of the two, and then the robot part of him is the more organic looking, and we'll see that when we get into the robot mode. So it's very cool, and I really like the contrast in the way that it does that. Here, as you can see, he's, like I say, he's an ape, and I'll bring him in closer. You can see the face, which I really like. I really love the contrast of that blue metallic paint and those red eyes and the silver teeth. It just looks really, really cool to me. Really, the only gripe I would have with this figure is the fact that it says Optimus right there on the chest. I find that a little silly. I think maybe like a Maximal symbol there would have been better served. But other than that, I mean, I really like the metallic paint that these Transmetals had. And it's in pretty good shape, so I'm pretty happy with it. For articulation, he's got pretty good articulation, being a somewhat humanoid mode. So, unfortunately, nothing at the head-to-head is still. It's static. It doesn't move up and down or side to side, which is a shame because it would be nice if the head could move up a little bit so you can give him some of those like a gorilla hunching over poses like that. Unfortunately, if you try to do that, he's just looking straight down, so that's unfortunate. You've got a universal joint at the shoulder, so you can go in and out. You can go all the way around, nice and ratchety. You got a rotation right there at the bicep, and you got a bend at the elbow. Nothing at the wrists. You do have a wrist or a waist rather articulation, which is going to come in really handy when we go into his flight mode. We have a universal joint right here at the hip, so he can go in and out, forward and backwards. Now, backwards is a little hindered because of this piece on the back of his leg. And obviously, he has no knees. He does have these little toes down here that can kind of move up and down a little bit. That's about it. But not bad articulation for an ape mode. And he looks really, really cool. I just really like what he does with this. So, real quick to bring him in for comparison, here he is next to Optimus Primal, as he looked in the first season before he became a Transmetal. And this is the 10th anniversary figure, the one that's more cartoon accurate. So you guys have seen me review this guy already. So there you go. There's what these guys look like together, side by side. Now, he doesn't really have any weapons to speak of in this mode. However, he's got these missiles back here that are going to come into play later. But these guys do come off his back, and I like to place these in his hands. These are actually intended to be missiles, but the instructions don't really say anything about this, but I think these guys work awesome as clubs. So he can go and club in Megatron's face with these. So I think those would hurt a lot. And I think those are pretty cool, so I like using those as clubs. There you go. That's pretty neat. Now, he does have a flight mode. All Transmetals had a kind of an intermediate transportation mode, and in Optimus's case, it was a flight mode, and it was the craziest flight mode that you've ever seen. So we're going to start right here on the side. What will become his gun later. Right now, it's kind of like a thruster, so we're going to just flip this guy straight up, and then go ahead and take his toes and just kind of point them up so that they're out of the way. Bring his legs out a little bit, and then this whole back piece of the leg right here, just bring this straight out, just like so, and then turn it so that it points in. Do the same thing on this side down here, Just kind of keep everything straight, turn it in, and then take these, what were the front of his feet earlier, just go ahead and plug those together. And now you've got yourself a somewhat of a, kind of like a surfboard, I guess, is what it was what they described it as on the show. It's kind of like a surfboard, flying surfboard on a gorilla. it's crazy is what it is. So there you go. There's your flight mode. So basically this was kind of like a hoverboard, I guess, if you will. And then his gun right here was a thruster, and he could just fly. He could just transform into this. And this is where the waist articulation comes in handy, because he can just turn and face the way that he is going. So there you go. That was kind of his flight mode on the show. And he just kind of flew around like that, which is awesome. This reminds me of TNC Surf Designs, an old Nintendo cartridge, if you're familiar with Nintendo games. It was one of the first Nintendo games that I had, and it had a surfing gorilla, so this reminds me a lot of that. They did put a couple of wheels on the bottom here, so if you point the tips of these up just a little bit, you can actually get a little bit of roll. It's not the best, but you can at least roll them along on the table. If you try to like roll him over, obviously, he's not going to roll great, but you can move him around on the table like this, if you so wish to do so. So you can surf the air, and if you want to, you can go ahead and give him his clubs again. And now he is going to surfboard fly at you with his clubs, and he's going to club your face off. So that's really cool. I really like that. It's just so neat. It's so crazy. It's fun. It's very, very crazy, and it's a very long stretch of the imagination, but that's what this is supposed to do. This is supposed to capture your imagination, and it's fun. It's so crazy that it's fun. I like it. It's a lot of fun, and I can imagine. I never had this as a kid. Beast Wars came out after I was in the Army, so I never really experienced these guys as a kid. But I can imagine kids that were watching the show back in the 90s, as these toys were coming out, were having a lot of fun with this, because I'm having a lot of fun with it right now in front of the camera. So there you go. Okay, so that's about it for Beast Mode. We'll get him back into his, we'll put these guys back away again. And we'll get ready for the transformation. So for transformation, go ahead and just leave his arms up and out of the way. Leave that up and out of the way. Unplug the two halves here, and then bring these back or forward again the way they were for ape mode. And then this time around, instead of folding these up into the back of his leg, you're going to fold them all the way down, just like so. Point those toes down, and then this tip of the board right here is going to flip forward to create his toes. So what was his originally his ape or gorilla feet are now going to be kind of like some kneecaps. So there you go. And now you can go ahead and flip that gun back down again. Go ahead and rotate him at the waist. And now we're going to take these this little like side pieces, armor right here on the side. Go ahead and pull these down. These are tabbed in. You can see the little pegs right there on his sides. Go ahead and tab those out of the way, and then just pull this entire thing up and over, just like that. Let's see. We need to adjust the camera a little bit. We do. So let's bring the camera up a little bit. Now, you can see the chest right here for the robot mode in the front there. So take the robot mode chest and the gorilla chest and just split these apart. And you can just pull forward on the gorilla head to do that. Take the gorilla head and fold it inside. And then take the robot head, fold it out, and then close everything right back up again. Just like so. Bring the arms down, turn them around. And then this whole back piece that we had earlier for the gorilla is going to clip onto the gorilla chest now, and it's going to become that backpack there for Optimus. And these pieces right here are going to clip down and become shoulder pauldrons. And then finally, we're going to take the arms right here. We're going to split these guys open, and this is why there's no wrist articulation. You're going to bring this out, flip it around to reveal his robot hand. Do the same thing on this side right here. Close that back up again. Get them all nice and straight. And there is Optimus Primal in robot mode. Here in robot mode, Optimus stands approximately 7 inches tall. And we'll bring him in close so you can see his face. We'll probably got to move the camera up a little bit. One more time. So there you go. There's his face. It's a bit of a departure from what we're used to seeing on Optimus Prime. And at first, I didn't like this face a whole lot. But it kind of grew on me after watching the show. Again, I didn't watch the show when it originally aired. I watched it many, many years later. And then after seeing the story and kind of seeing how everything made sense, it kind of grew on me. But at first, I wasn't crazy about this face. But you can see some hints of Optimus on there. You got the little crest right here on the forehead, and you got the antennas on the side. So you can kind of see what they were going for, a more organic look for Prime. As far as articulation goes, he's better improved on the articulation this time around. The head does spin. Let's get into focus again. So we've got added articulation there because the head does turn. The same articulation on the arm, so you got your in and out, forward and backward. You got a rotation at the bicep, and you got a bend at the elbow. But again, no articulation at the wrist. You still have your articulation at the waist. Same articulation at the hips, but now we have an added knee, which is sort of kind of a double knee because of the transformation. But it's there, so you have an added knee and you have an added ankle. So improved articulation there. Now, as far as weapons go, this guy has quite a bit of weapons that we can use in this mode. Now, we've got this gun right here on the side that we've mentioned earlier, so we go ahead and pop that out. That's just pegged into the side of the leg right there. And you can hold this in either hand as a gun. And there you go. So it's kind of a rinky-dinky gun, honestly, if you ask me. Now, this is show accurate. This is the gun that he had on the show. But it really just kind of looks like a hairdryer. It looks really, really silly. But there you go. That's his gun. That's his weapon that they gave him. And you can take these clubs again. One more time, you can take these off. Now, these guys are spring-loaded. There is a spring inside this gun. And this guy will, let's see, there's a slot in there. I just want to make sure that I'm putting it in right. So there's a slot. You can put these guys all the way in there, and they'll actually clip in place. Now, the way that they have us, that the instruction shows for these to fire, there is no release button or anything like that. The back of the, let me see, let's do this. So you can see, I'll show you on this missile here. If I can get Optimus to stand on his own. There you go. So the back of the missile right here, you can see it's got these little edges right here, these little grooves. There we go. That you can see that there. So these, and there's this little like cone right here at the end of the missile catches onto the edge of the hole of the gun right there. So in theory, what's supposed to happen here is you push down on the missile and it releases that grab that it's got on the gun and it shoots forward. But unfortunately, yeah, well, actually, you know what? That shot a lot better than it did during practice, honestly. Because during practice, this really was just kind of going like that, and it was just kind of dropping in front of me. So let's see if we can do that one more time and actually hit the back wall. There you go. So I guess maybe I just needed a little love. I needed some loosening up. So there you go. It's a bit fiddly. It doesn't have an actual release button, which I'm not fond of, but it does its job. Actually, both times I hit the wall on that. So that was pretty cool that it actually made that happen. So, and once again, you can grab these missiles if you want. And this is just me. And you can use them as clubs and just beat somebody's face in with them, which I think is really, really cool. So another attack mode that he has. This, again, doesn't tell you in the instructions, but this happened on the show. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this part right here because it's really, really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and put these missiles right back on his back again one more time. And now what he did on the show is this entire backpack would flip up and over, and come around to the front of his face, just like this. And then these guys right here would kind of have little handles right there, so he would kind of hold this, and it was kind of like this armored and cannon emplacement that he just carried on his back, just like that. It's kind of like these anti-aircraft guns, if you will. You've got yourself a shield right there. You've got yourself the hand shields for the handles, and then you've got your cannons right there on the top that he would look through right there. And he would shoot at other flying Predacons like this. Again, this is not in the instructions, but he did do this on the show, which I think was really, really cool. So check that out. That is amazing. I love that. Again, this toy, for being such a simple figure, has so much playability. It's a lot of fun. And I'm really, really glad I got it. So let's get that guy back in place. And then we'll finish off here with a comparison. We'll bring in the first version of Optimus Primal from Beast Wars. Again, the 10th anniversary, so it's a little more show accurate than the first release was. And quite a bit of difference here in size. Let me back them up again. Quite a bit of difference in size. So you've gone down in size here, but you've definitely not gone down in fun. It's a very fun. Both of these figures are a lot of fun. Both of these figures do a lot for a toy that goes from a somewhat humanoid mode to another humanoid mode. Both of these figures do a lot of stuff, a lot of fun figures. So I'm kind of sorry that I missed out on the whole Beast Wars craze when it first came out. As I was mentioning earlier, you can see now that he's in robot mode, you can see a lot more fur. Like you can see all the fur on his head. You can see fur on his chest right here. In fact, his entire chest almost looks like a gorilla chest, really, rather than a robot chest. Where his gorilla, in gorilla mode, he looked more robotic. Then, you got all mechanical arms and all that. But then again, if you look at the fists also have fur on them. So you can see a lot more organic elements in robot mode than you did in his organic beast mode. And then vice versa, his beast mode looked a lot more mechanical than his robot does. So it's really, really interesting. It's something that I believe this figure, the Optimus Primal, only did in this mode or in this iteration of himself. So it's interesting, and I like it. I like the change there. Very cool. So there we go. I think with that, we're pretty much done with Transformers Beast Wars Transmetals Optimus Primal. What did you think of this figure, and what would you like to see me review next? Let me know by leaving me a comment. Give me some thumbs up. Subscribe and share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time on That's Just Prime.